Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Me only run very noob. Today I'm going to bring you a little bit of a tournament report from Pro Tour LA. I know it's been a little delayed, it's like a week and a half ago, but this is when I had time to do it, so I'm going to bring it to you. So I'm going to start with the fact that I am on a team, Team Metal Fab. Bunch of great guys. The week leading up to the event, we all got together like in a house and we were testing, jamming draft games, playing CC, talking about this game, and it was just really sort of an amazing time. Special shout out to Brandon, who hosted us in his house, cooked us a bunch of great meals. It was fantastic. Going into this testing house, I didn't even know what deck I was going to play. The tournament was like 4 days, 5 days away, and I didn't know if I wanted to play Bravo or Victor. So that was basically what day one was for me, was trying to figure out what deck I wanted to lock in on and practice for the rest of the week. And I ended up on Victor. The main reason I ended up on Victor is my testing into KO on Monday especially was very productive. I figured out how I wanted to sideboard, and it went pretty well for me. That was like the one matchup that would have made me want to play Bravo over Victor, but I ended up playing Victor, and having not the worst KO matchup was a big reason for that. Ended up cutting Miller's Grindstone to put in Titan's Fist, and that seemed like a pretty good change for the expected metagame of KO. But as you will learn in a minute, it didn't really matter too much come tournament. We drafted a bunch. I want to say we drafted like 8 times. I had a lot of success in drafts, so I was feeling very confident going into the event, which is always good. So the only thing left to do was go to the event. Friday, sit down. My round 1 opponent is Dromai. I don't hate my Dromai matchup, but I know that it can be a little tricky. My main plan with Victor was to just sort of go aggro and hope that it works out. Cleaning up dragons that you need to clean up, you know, your Chromais, your Mirror Guys, your Passing Mirages, but really trying to just like put them in a position where they have to start blocking with their cards and they can't just like play Remembrance for value in the late game. And this game went very well for me. I pummeled my opponent 3 times, like in the first 6 turns, and that's exactly what I want to be doing. Is, you know, I don't want to be blocking like dust ups with my pummels. I want to be playing them. 2 of them were even on an attack, so it came with a discard, and only 1 of them was on the hammer. But still, throwing 10 at your opponent's pretty good. It's kind of like a red Thunderquake, right? It's like a 3-card 10. So that game really wasn't that difficult. I want to say at one point I was up like 33-12, and yeah, I got to take that game pretty easily on the back of my 3 pummels that I got to resolve. Round 2, I sit down, and my opponent is playing Azalea. Fantastic matchup for Victor. This is exactly how I want to start my tournament, with a win, and then sitting down in round 2 with a good matchup. And the game went probably how you would imagine. I don't really play this matchup slow. I don't try to fatigue Azalea and let them get a bunch of value. I just try to do what Victor does best and trade value, and it ended up working out pretty good. There was a point in the game where my opponent couldn't even play his Codex of Frailties, because if he did, it meant I'd get Golden Sun back and just kill him on the spot. So game went pretty good for me. Awesome start, starting the Pro Tour 2-0. My first Pro Tour I've ever played, I should mention, and I'm feeling pretty excited heading into round 3. Round 3, I look at my pairing before I get to my seat, and I see it's Dagon White. I know Dagon White as sort of a Guardian control player, but because of, you know, being in the tournament hall and his games going long, I saw that he was on Decimator Great Axe Dory. So that was very helpful for me heading into round 3, knowing what kind of Dory deck he was on and how to sideboard for that. And, you know, cutting things like Sink Below and including things like Zealous Belting. This matchup, or this game in particular, I want to say it was pretty close, but I had pitch decked an endgame that made me feel very confident that I was going to win the game, like way before I actually got to the pitch stack. Um, as you might imagine, Decimator Great Axe Dory, it's a really long game. It goes back and forth. And I pitch stacked a sequence of Golden Sun, Red Macho Grande, and I would hope it would be enough to close the game. Hoping that my opponent wouldn't be pitch stacking too many D-reacts for late game. Of course, Dagon White is a fantastic player, and he didn't make it so easy. I barely got there on the last Red Macho Grande, and I have a feeling if that didn't kill him, that there was a chance that I wouldn't win this game. So shout outs to Dagon, awesome player, but we managed to eke it out. Feeling super good about my deck choice now. I played against 3 matchups that I'm not super afraid of. I really don't want to see Kano, and even though I fixed the KO matchup a little bit, I don't really want to see KO. It's fixing that matchup doesn't mean it's good. It just means it's not completely awful. In round 4, I play against Ilias Karamanis on Levia. Super good player and really fun to play against, a little chatty. This game didn't go my way. I ended up losing this game, but it was super close. There was he had a really bad Blood Rush Bellow turn where he basically just Blood Rush Bellowed and then threw Red Endless Maw at me, which is a Blood Rush Bellow turn only dealing 11 damage is obviously a big win for us. But we just couldn't manage to win any clashes. There was 2 points in the game where if I would have won my clash, I would have been pummeling a leveled up Golden Sun. But because I lost my clash, instead I'm just sending Titan Fist for 4. So it's basically the difference. It's 13 value difference, right? Because it's the difference between 4 and 14 damage plus a discard. So a little annoying. I didn't win any of the clashes, but when going up against Brute, they have a lot of 6s. You're really hoping to hit 7s and 8s and stuff. So it's not like losing clashes against Dory where you reveal a E strike and then reveal a CNC or something where it's just super rare, but still not my favorite thing to do, to lose clashes with Victor in the matchups that aren't KO specifically or the mirror. But all in all, ending the CC portion at 3-1, feeling great about my start, feeling fantastic, especially with the draft practice that I had and the draft prep I had and the results I was getting. I felt super confident going into draft. I won't talk too much about the drafts because I don't really have a lot to say about it, and the matchups, they're not super in depth with plans. You're just sort of trying to play value, especially since I favor Guardian and Warrior, and I really try to stay away from Brute. Maybe other people have more nuanced matchup analysis of draft, but it's mainly a slow, I hear a lot of people talk that it's not really a fatiguey format, but I definitely feel this format is very fatiguey in understanding how to pitch stack well, and having win conditions in second cycle is a big deal in this format, at least in my opinion. My draft doesn't go super well, but my deck is okay. I end up drafting Betsy, big surprise. I definitely lean Guardian in this format because I like 3 blocks. I like to pick a lane early so that I have 3 to 4 more playables in my deck. I don't really like to be on 30 cards. I like to be on 33. And my round 1 opponent is also on Betsy, except his Betsy deck is very, very good. He has the Chapo, and he wins the die roll and plays a red aura on turn 1. So I know this game is probably not going to be won by me. I actually managed to claw back and make it kind of close, but my opponent takes it in the end. Round 6, the second round of draft, I play against James Ceruleus Silver. I believe he is on Fabled Runaways. I'm not too sure what team he's on, but I know it's one of them because I've seen him on a podcast or something. Really cool guy, fun to play against, and strong player. He is on one of the Warriors. I forget which one. I want to say Olympia. It's a pretty close game, and in the end, I've seen him pitch a yellow Fatal Engagement, So I don't want to die to yellow fatal engagement, so I block in a way to not die to yellow fatal engagement, and he has red fatal engagement, which I haven't seen him pitch. So I die on the spot due to him giving +5 to his weapon. And the unfortunate part is I still had like armor block in play. So feeling a little dejected here, starting 3-1 and being 3-3 now, heading into my round 7 match, which is a win and in for day 2. Not feeling too great. Already sort of talking to my buddies about, playing in the calling and all this on the second day instead of day 2 of Pro Tour, because if I lose my third round, I'm not going to be able to play day 2 of the Pro Tour. So a little sad after my fast start to crash and burn in draft, which I felt very confident and prepared for. I sit down in round 7, and I'm playing against Ed Knight. Shout out to Ed Knight. Finally got to meet you. Talked to you on Discord for a bit, and definitely respect you and your Guardian game. Ed's playing Rhinar, which I think is really difficult deck to not only build correctly in the draft portion, but to also pilot. And since he's in the 0-2 bracket, I have to imagine like either his deck is sort of mid, which most Rhinar decks are, or maybe he didn't have like a ton of experience on Rhinar. But we play this game, and I feel like I don't remember a ton about it, but I feel like it wasn't really that close. Like I feel like my win it wasn't super hard fought. I just sort of like played my cards and got there in the end. So it feels a little bad to knock my Bravo brother out of day 2 of Pro Tour, but at the same time, it is what it is. I don't choose my opponents, and day 2ing the Pro Tour is definitely something I was trying to do and excited to have achieved after day 1. Of course, starting 3-1 and ending 4-3, not exactly how I want to end, but overall, if you would have told me before the tournament I was going to day 2, I would have been pretty happy. After all, that was the original goal for me. Although I have high standards, and I'm never just trying to like do okay. Even in like a pro event, I'm just going to have confidence in my ability, and I really want to win this thing. So day 2, we start the draft, and again, my first few packs are telling me Guardian, so I end up going Guardian. I feel like my deck is okay. Like, I would say on a scale from 1 to 10, my deck's probably like a 7, and the reason it's not a 5 is because I have so many 3 blocks, and I also have Stonewall Impasse, and I have 5 Thunks. So hopefully I can turn my Stonewall Impasse into Apex Bonebreaker in one of these games and sort of like try to come out with a 2-1 so that I'm still alive for like to 4-0 and CC and cash or something like that. My first 2 rounds I play against Warriors, and I end up fatiguing both of them. Oh no, round 1 I played against a KO. Yeah, round 1 in this draft I played against a KO and ended up fatiguing them. And my shield isn't that good. I don't really win clashes, but I just have so many 3 blocks, and I believe they were on 31 cards to my 34, and I end up just like leveraging my 3 blocks into fatiguing them out. Round 2 I play against Olympia, and I fatigue them as well. It's a super close game. I think if I had 1 less life, I lose this game, but I end up fatiguing her out. So we started this draft 2-0, which is very surprising for me, and I'm feeling pretty excited about how this day could go at this point, because being 6-3 is a lot better than being like 5-4. If I win all my games today, I think I'm still live for top 8, so that's like super exciting. And even if I'm not live for top 8, I'm gonna get like top 16 if I win out, which is also very exciting. Round 10, which is round 3 of the pod, the finals of this draft pod, I play against Kasai. And in this game, my shield is literally just Apex Bonebreaker. Both times I block with it, it reveals a Thunk. And I win a very close game on the back of that. Um, so yeah, it's kind of hard for me to remember these draft games because it's just sort of like medium cards crashing into each other. But the one thing I remember about this finals match is that my both of my Stonewall impasse blocks revealed a thunk, and it was just like insane. It it allowed me to throw like two card eights and block like eight on the back end, like seven or eight, because my deck did have so many three blocks that two cards plus shield got to block like a big, got to block like the first sword swing and then the second sword swing and then make a might, and then I got to send like eight. It was pretty crazy. So this medium deck ends up going 3-0. Definitely very happy with this start. Although I had a good start yesterday and kind of crapped out at the end. So not resting yet. There's still a lot of work to do. 4 more CC rounds. But 3-0ing a day 2 Pro Tour draft pod is something I'll like always remember. It's something I'll kind of always be proud of. That's a bullet point for the resume here. So round 11, I play against Levia again, and my opponent Porter is like super fun. I could tell that it was going to be a fun match. Like as soon as he asked me to like roll dice, he was like, we could do high roll or evens odds, but do you mind if we just roll 5 dice for poker hands? And I'm just like, oh yeah, let's go. He rolls a pair of threes, I roll trip ones, and I get to go first, or I get to pick who goes first. And against Levia, I go second, of course. And my opponent was really fun. Yeah, it was a fun game. It might not have been so fun for him. It seemed like he was having fun, but Levia did Levia things, and it just didn't really work out. There was one turn where I like pummeled a turned on Golden Sun, and my opponent's hand is like 3 yellow agile windups and something else I forget, maybe like a swing big. He doesn't get to turn off Blood Debt, so he takes like, I think he blocked 2 with an agile windup, discarded another agile windup, used the ability of agile windup on his turn and arsenaled swing big. So he ended up taking like 12 damage, discarding a card, and then taking like 3 to Blood Debt. And the game was mine from that point. I just got to sort of play a normal Victor game plan and win sort of handily. Round 12, I see on my match, on my gem app for my match, I'm playing against Xing Sang of Team Blue Pitch. Super good player. I want to say he's like top 10 global. Not entirely sure what he's playing until I sit down and he flips over Victor. And so we're in for a Victor mirror. I gotta say something about the Victor mirror. I don't like the Victor mirror that much. I think it's super swingy. I feel like whoever wins the first clash and makes a gold has like a huge advantage, because then they get to use that gold to win further clashes and just sort of snowball their advantage. And this game, it's kind of silly to break it down to like the Victor mirror to like who wins their clashes, but it's sort of what dictates the winner in the end. And if we clashed 8 times, I want to say I won like 7 of them. It was not a fun game for my opponent. I won a bunch of clashes. I got to do a bunch of stuff. One interesting thing though is I brought a Nothos and my opponent brought Gold Shield and Titan's Fist. I have to imagine they brought Gold Shield because of winning clashes is so important that you want to start with that gold to have a couple chances to win that first clash. Something I need to test, but I felt like a Nothos is just sort of gives your Rouse the Ancients and Zealous Beltings and Terra Sunders way more value, and that felt like a good enough reason for me to not want to bring the shield and just try to get lucky with the clashes. But that could be worse than just trying to like win the first clash, because it is so important. So I end up winning this game, and I'm feeling pretty damn good. Like, I've started day 2 5-0. I'm 9-3 at this point, and I'm very close to locking up top 32 to refresh my PTI. I got 2 more rounds, and I just have to win one of them. And if I win both of them, I might even be live for top 8, which is crazy to me. Definitely something I wanted to do. Definitely something that, like, I feel I'm sort of capable of doing. I wasn't entirely sure. I've never played at a pro level. I've only played like callings and stuff, but um, definitely very excited and feeling very confident at this point. So round 13, I play against Arthur Trehe, which by now you probably recognize as the person who took down the whole event on Dromai. Super good player. I Spoiler alert, I did not win this game. I feel like if I would have won this game, Arthur would have been knocked out of top 8, so that's probably pretty obvious. But my opponent presented an equipment suite that I hadn't really seen before. They presented Mage Master boots and Wave of Reality. Now, normally, if Wave of Reality, you'll see like with Snapdragons, and normally Mage Masters, you'll see with like Ghostly Touch. So I didn't really know what that meant at the beginning of the match, so I just sort of like enacted my same game plan of trying to be as aggressive as possible, leaving a bunch of dragons that I didn't think were super problematic, even if it meant just like hammering their face for 6. Just trying to put the pressure on them so that they didn't have a lot of room to do what they wanted. At some point in this game, they used their Mage Master boots just to play like a passing Mirage and keep their turn going, and I did not see that coming, and it was very good. There was also a point where they had like 2 passing Mirages in play and a mirror guy, and they were at 11, and I think I was pretty high. I was like at 23. So I had a big decision to make if I was going to keep going face or if I was going to attack passing Mirage and try to clean stuff up. I chose the latter to like try to clean stuff up, and the game just got way out of hand. I don't think I would have won had I went face, but I think it might have given me a better chance. Shout out to my opponent, super good player, probably like the best Dromai I've ever played against. Definitely taught me a lot about how the matchup could go wrong and how the matchup should be played on the Dromai side. Not that it'll be too important going forward because Dromai is not really long for this world, but it was definitely cool to see that deck played at such a high level. Unfortunately for me, this knocks me out of top 8, but I just have to win one more match, and I can refresh my PTI, be top 32, and be very happy about how the tournament went. Honestly, if I lose my next match, I'll be pretty happy about how the tournament went too. Did not expect to do so well, especially after starting 4-3 on day 1. Round 14, last round. Sit down against Eason Douglas, who is the number 1 ranked player in the USA, I think. And he's playing Kano. So, very disappointing, very discouraging. Even before the game starts, I'm just like super bummed because I know I have like no shot in this game. I registered AB1. I don't have like out muscle to help with aggression. I'm just playing sort of old, slow Victor. And I actually get my opponent down to 2. But as you might know about Kano, that doesn't really always tell you the whole story. My opponent killed me, and don't get to refresh my PTI. But I did make money. I got top 64, so that's great. It was a wonderful tournament. I had a lot of fun. It built a lot of confidence. It really gave me, like, it really showed me that like I can compete at this level. It really inspired me to try to play more Pro Tours and to do this more often. And for that, I'm very grateful. The weekend goes great. I play some more side events over the weekend. I get a Cold Foil Vigor token so that when I win trounces, I can look shiny and fancy. And, go home after the tournament. And it was a great time. But fast forward a little bit to when they updated ELO. To my surprise, I gained like a ton of ELO in this event. Went up from like 1710 to 1840, which is good enough for front page global and like top 16 USA, which I was not expecting at all. And it's really awesome because I didn't refresh my PTI, but if I hold this rating, I think I qualify for the next Pro Tour on ELO, and that's definitely something that made me super happy once I realized that. So that's how the tournament went. I don't think I would have changed anything. I think my testing prep was top notch. I think the people on my team that I tested with are the exact people I'd want to be testing with. Um, had great food. The hotel was right across the street from the venue, so that was fantastic. Um, and just had a great time. I'd also like to shout out a bunch of people I got to meet this weekend that came up to me and really sort of like made my day. It was awesome. I met like Maximum Bow, Magic the School Bus. In a side event, I got to play against Daniel Correas, who is a top eighter in the Pro Tour. It was just a great time. I really enjoyed meeting everybody, spending time with my team, and I can't wait for the next big event. Majors are always super fun. If you are wondering, like, if you're on the fence about going to a calling or a pro tour or nationals or what have you, here's your sign. You should just go. They're so much fun. Even if you don't qualify for the main event, just playing the side events and being in there with the energy, being around like-minded people, it's really just like a great time, and I would highly recommend it. So thanks for stopping by and listening to me talk about my event. Until next time, have a good one.